So taking a moment here to invite the system to slow down. And body finding stillness. Maybe noticing the contact of your body on the cushion or the chair. And for just a few moments here, we'll intentionally slow down the breath as well, just to help that encouraging of a slowing down, a settling down. And so you can explore, maybe try a inhale of 4, pause, and an exhale of 6. See how that feels for your body, and maybe adjust if that's not feeling quite right. Just slowing it down, maybe extending the exhale just a bit. Giving the nervous system a dose of calm. So maybe breathing in 2, 3, 4, pausing, and exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do that a few more times together. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, pause, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can continue like that if you like, or as I mentioned, you can adjust the count. Just getting intentional for a moment here. Encouraging a settling down, a slowing down. And then letting go of the intentional style of breathing and let your breath come back to whatever its natural pace and rhythm is. letting go of any effort in that area, just allowing the breath to come and go. And starting to, in a relaxed way, invite some relaxation into the body. So we're not forcing anything, we're not judging our experience, just inviting relaxation where it's available, and just suggesting relaxation to the body. You can maybe start with the forehead, inviting the forehead to soften, smooth out, and relax. And relaxing into the eyebrows and the space between the eyebrows. Softening and relaxing into the eyes, inviting all those little muscles around the eyes to release. Relaxing and softening into your jaw. Maybe the mouth drops open a little, the teeth parting. Maybe the body wants to yawn or sigh. And softening into your neck. And over your shoulders. Allowing those shoulders to release. And relaxing down into your arms. Your hands. Softening and relaxing into the chest, all around the heart, the rib cage. Staying with the body, really being with your body as you encourage it to relax. Relaxing into the solar plexus. And down into the rest of the abdomen. Relaxing the muscles of the stomach. Relaxing into the stomach and the organs and the digestive system. Letting the entire abdomen release. And coming around to your back and really feeling into the muscles of the back and encouraging them to release. Encouraging a softening through the entire back. So using whatever muscles are needed for sitting, but then really encouraging everything else to soften as much as it's able today. Relaxing and softening into the hips and the seat and the pelvic area. And down both of your legs. Into your feet. And from here, I want you to draw your attention to your breath. And we won't be controlling the breath. We'll just be noticing it as it is. You might choose to place your attention right on the nostrils, or maybe somewhere else in your body. Maybe some other aspect of breathing is calling to you. And so we'll start there, very simple. Just feeling the breath come and go. Seeing how awake you can be to each inhale and each exhale. Every inhale brand new. Every exhale brand new. Something that has never been experienced before now. Now allowing attention to extend from just the breath to maybe some other sensations in the body. What else do you notice in your body? Maybe there's an itch or an ache somewhere. Can you get really curious about that sensation? Maybe there's a rush of energy somewhere in the body. Maybe there's an emotional sensation. Just extending out into what else you can feel in your body. And remember that sound as well as thought can create sensation in the body as well. So just noticing, how is the body responding? What are you feeling physically? What emotional sensations are arising in the chest or the stomach or the face or the throat? What tingles are in the hands or the feet, or throbs somewhere in the body? Really feeling these sensations, getting curious about the actual felt experience. And if you haven't already, start to notice also the feeling of your clothing on your skin, the air touching your skin, that contact of your feet on the floor, your butt on the cushion, physical sensations on the surface of your body, where other things are making contact with you. Now we're going to include in our experience here the sounds around us. So starting to really allow in the tapestry of sound. Getting curious about that activity. Including it. So don't feel that you need to separate it out and get super clear and concentrated on just sound. Instead, we're going to include it. We're going to build on what we are present with. And it might be that more of your attention starts to shift to sound when there's a sound. But we don't need to separate it out from the physical experience right now. It's what we're doing this evening. We're not going to draw any hard lines or make a lot of effort to keep things in separate containers. So if having that crystal clear concentration experience is something you really enjoy, you might need to let go of that desire just for now. And allow this to be a little softer around the edges. And perhaps through that letting go, a new kind of concentration comes in, a new kind of clarity. Feeling the body breathe, feeling that sensation in your leg, hearing the sound of the birds outside, or the voices in the hall. Letting these experiences swim together. One big stream. And as we let that stream continue to flow, maybe it starts to open up a bit, getting wider. Wide enough to include thought as well. So we also won't separate out mental talk or images. We won't put the mind in the corner, so to speak. We'll let the mind be part of this flow that's getting wider and wider all the time. And if you're aware of smells or tastes, that's also included. If you choose to practice with your eyes open, then sight is included as well. With the eyes closed, maybe it's that gray scale, the light and dark in front of your eyelids, that flow of images perhaps. Moving towards nothing being excluded. Busy mind, just another ripple in this flow. This now ocean of experience. Pain in your hip, just another wave. And just noticing that tendency to want to differentiate, which is useful, helpful tool. But we do it habitually and unconsciously. And what a relief to be able to let go of that effort. And instead of trying to separate and stand separate, we just let go into the flow of all of it. Included in that flow is your resistance, your judgment, your discomfort. Included in that flow is this thought, and this thought. Included in that flow is that feeling in your gut. that dryness in your mouth. Included in that flow is the sounds you can hear and the sounds that are too far away to hear. Included in that flow is present, but also your memories, your plans. Included in that flow are the people you love most deeply, as well as the people who've hurt you most deeply. The people who agree with your worldview, and the people who are on the exact opposite end of the spectrum. As well as every single thought and sensation in each of them. In that flow is everything you believe. Just one little ripple. So tiny. Tiny ripple in an endless ocean. So what if just for right now you just let everything you believe be that tiny ripple? How do those years of hard-earned beliefs hold up? Surrounded by all that ocean. Maybe you're willing to let go just a little bit. That includes the things you believe about yourself, the things that keep you small and afraid, the things that keep you creating and recreating the island where you hold the parts of yourself that you don't want anyone to see. The beliefs that tell you you're better or worse than someone else. The beliefs that cause you to suffer. Just for right now, what if you let them just take their place in all of the waves, rather than thinking that they are the ocean? Just let them go. Just for right now. And just playing around. If there's maybe a part of you that's hanging out on the shore, which of course is part of this big ocean anyway. Or maybe that part of you wants to dip some toes in. Maybe you want to join everything else. You might know that part of you by a tight jaw. Or a series of thoughts. Or just a grasping somewhere in the solar plexus or the gut. So maybe you just let the jaw soften. Let the belly expand. And just give those thoughts lots of space. They get to be here just like everything else. In this moment, you're as free as you decide to be. What if for even a split second you let yourself really, really be set free? And now let's gently draw attention back to the sensation of breathing, back where we began. Choosing a place in the body to focus. And breathing in, breathing out. Waking up to each inhale and each exhale. And noticing, is there some place in your body that you can release or relax a little bit more? something you can just soften. And I want you, as you start to transition out of the formal practice, to consider staying in touch with whatever aspect of this practice has been most beneficial for you as we move into a little bit of conversation. Taking your time as you're ready, you can blink the eyes open. So a practice like this can help to remind us that we're not an island. We're not separate. And that our belief that we are is what tends to lead to getting into trouble with ourselves, getting into a place where we're needlessly suffering. And the cool thing is that it's so easy if we remember to do it, to tap into how not separate we really are. If you think about this little teeny tiny planet that we're on and how it all works together. And even the things that we're doing to the planet's then like kind of correcting in its own way, ways that humans might not end up liking so much, but you know, it's all doing its thing, right? It's like, and we're part of that thing. And this planet is only one tiny part of a whole lot more that's all doing its thing. So you can kind of intellectually think about it that way. Like we're part of some big ass mystery. Like we're part of it though, which is really lovely. Certainly not alone. But then we can also have the felt sense, right? Like, I always found this a little bit gross, but like when you're in a room and you're breathing air, we're all sharing that air. I mean, I find it kind of lovely and kind of gross. Some lovely things are... Sure. Sure. One of the things that meditation can show us is that there's no separation, that this is unified. And for me, dipping into that throughout the day, all day, helps me to remember. And then maybe in that moment, when I'm feeling really separate from another human, perhaps, maybe they've said something that just like really hurt my feelings or brought up judgment, something like that. If I'm practiced at tuning into just how connected everything is, I might be more likely to have a sense of empathy. I might be more likely not to take it personally. I might be more likely to respond with curiosity rather than defensiveness. I might ask a question instead of making a statement. So it's really practical. I mean, we can talk about like, woo, we're all connected, and we are. And there is something really woo about that, but it's also just very practical. It's just really practical. If you go into work and you have, this whole story built up about your employer, and you've been carrying that around with you, and it's really like there's that person and there's me, that's going to lead to not a very pleasant environment. Whereas if every day you're infusing your experience with, oh, I'm actually 100% connected with this person, there is literally no separation, you're more likely to have a better experience, even if they're kind of a jerk. In fact, you might be overwhelmed with compassion for that jerk. Could be somebody who, until you started practicing something like that, you just couldn't stand. And then suddenly it's like you see them and you're just like, oh my gosh, like you're just this beautiful human. I remember having this experience with someone I worked with who I just never really liked them very much, and had a lot of judgment in my mind about them, and then judgment that I had judgment, right? Because I'm supposed to like not have judgment because, I'm not human or something. And then after a particularly intensive period of practice, I saw this person, and I just saw them as a child, like just really clearly. And that's something you can cultivate. You think about like your parents or your enemies as a child. It really softens things. But it was very spontaneous. I just like saw this person as a child, and my heart just like exploded with love for them. And while I never really ended up like liking them in like the personal sense, I love them, in the much more important and broader sense. And that just came through sitting and feeling in and opening up to the complete lack of separation between me and anyone and anything else. But the other really cool thing about being willing to explore this kind of thing is that it can really open up your creativity as well. And everything's creative, right? Like if you're working in a bank, or if you're, a painter, it's all creative, we're creating. And when we've opened up to this flow that I kept coming back to, this just flow of everything, that can really spark some openings creatively. You can find yourself thinking of something you've done every day in a completely new way. You can find yourself, rather than like problem solving, completely, a whole new route kind of occurring that totally like negates the problem. You can find yourself feeling very passionate about what you're doing, which is nice. It's nice to feel that as human beings. And so while there can be something very sort of like, oh, it's all connected, there's nothing special, right? There's also a lot of special in that, right? Because remember, there's just like all of these waves and all of these ripples. And so the creativity that it can spark can sort of counteract some of the sort of spiritual meaninglessness that can come online as well. And I'm a big fan of all the things we do to heal and to grow and to evolve. I do lots of them myself. But there is something to be said for just dropping into the total unity that's available in every instant, that is every instant. And there's not a whole lot of doing in that. It's more of a letting go. So I just wanted to share with you a poem that I opened up to today. This is Mark Nepo, or Nepo, I believe. He's this just really lovely, just mystical poet. Really recommend checking him out. And this is one I really like, The Myth of Urgency. Everyone wants you to quietly be Atlas, to shoulder it all. Even the voice in your head insists you are behind. But I've seen the light in you, the one the gods finger while we sleep. I've seen the blossom open in your heart, no matter what remains to be done. There are never enough hours to satisfy the minions of want. So close your eyes and lean into the oneness that asks nothing of you. When the calls stack, answer to no one, though you receive them all. Just open your beautiful hands, born with nothing in them. You have never been more complete than in this incomplete moment. So thank you for practicing with me. Thanks for the folks who joined online. So what I'm doing now is I'm live streaming the first chunk of the class, the guided meditation and maybe a talk. And then we'll say goodbye to the live stream. That way we can have some time to connect in person, just the people who are here. So again, thanks to those who joined us online. There is a link in the description if you care